Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People's Show, checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. This is my gut reaction to Nebraska's gut punch of a loss to Illinois. I'm just going to be honest. I've got notes out the yin-yang. I counted. There's 19 papers here. I still don't feel like I'm prepared to talk, and I'm going to be discombobulated. I'm just going to warn you right out the gate. And it just is what it is. I honestly thought we were going to win this game. I honestly thought we were the better team. I honestly thought we had better athletes and had the advantage on offense and defense. In the coaching ranks, you could have called it a draw between Matt RHULE and Brett Bielema. Offensive coordinator, you could say that, maybe that's a toss-up. I thought Tony White would be the guy that would give us an advantage when it comes to coaching. Okay. And it was special teams was the big question mark, and that's before I knew Alvano was out of the game. Illinois has field goal kickers who've made 40, 50, and 59-yard field goals already this year before coming into this game. So I knew they had the special teams advantage. That's a lot of advantages. It's a short week. That always favors the home team. It's a 400 consecutive sellout. I'm not going to talk about the last time we beat this ranked team, played this ranked team. We were ranked, yada, frickin' yada. I genuinely thought we were going to win the game. We did not, obviously. All right. If you're as surprised by this, frustrated by this, another one-score loss in a game where at halftime I wrote down, I feel like we're the better team. Hit the like button. All right. As you know, 400th consecutive sellout. I know some people put more credence into that than other folks. It means something to me. First time we've celebrated, whether it be the 100, 200, 300, or 400 consecutive sellout, that we've lost one of those contests. All right, we had beaten Penn State at the 100 consecutive sellout. We had beaten Colorado at the 200th. That was a 94, 24-7 drubbing of Colorado. We had beaten Louisiana Lafayette at the 300 consecutive sellout. That was like 55-0. All right, alas, we did not get the win tonight. All right, Larry the Cable Guy does the open for Fox. Illinois' first drive. Well, we don't score on our first drive for the first time all year. All right, eventually that was going to happen. Of course, it was tonight. Illinois' first drive, 6 plays, 78 yards, touchdown. Luke Altmaier, touchdown pass to wide receiver Pat Bryant, 27-yard TD pass. Bryant had 2 catches, 36 yards on the TD, all ready to start the game. First time this year, Nebraska allows a touchdown on an opening drive. The defense does. The Blackshirts didn't look ready at all to start in this series. Illinois has 2 potential big-bodied, down-the-road NFL-type wide receivers, a physical running back as well. Okay, they hadn't had a great running game coming into this game tonight at all. It's not something they had been great at. All right, they had really relied on Luke Altmaier, who last year had 10 interceptions and 9 starts. This was a 4-star recruit coming out of Starkville, Mississippi. He goes to Ole Miss. He goes to play for Lane Kiffin. He transfers a couple of years ago to Illinois. Has a rough year last year, playing very well this year. They really relied on their pass game coming into the contest tonight. Their 2 wide receivers and their quarterback had kind of carried the offense up to this point in the season. Illinois up 7-0. All right, this is where I make the note. Tristan Alvano is questionable. Obviously, he turned out to be out for this game. It was 96 degrees 2 hours before the game. All right, Nebraska's second drive. This is the first time the Huskers took the field all season trailing. Their second drive, 18 plays, 72 yards, culminates in a 21-yard field goal. John Hull steps in to kick the field goals this game. All right, Illinois is up 7-3. The Fighting Illini's next drive, fumble. Ball stripped out by John Bullock, recovered by Deshaun Singleton. Nebraska ball on the Illinois side of the field. Gunnar Gatula is in at left tackle for the now injured Turner Corcoran, who had a very rough first drive. 4 plays later, 37 yards. Dylan Raiola, touchdown pass to Isaiah Nayor. We're up 10-7. At this point, I'm like, all right, we got our groove. Our first drive wasn't great on offense. Our first drive was not great on defense, but we're okay. We're rolling. The team that's going to win the turnover battle has a huge edge in this game, and we've already got a big one, led to a touchdown. I'm like, here we go. I even wrote, turnovers, biggest key to this game, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. All right, Illinois answers. 8 play, 62-yard drive with a 26-yard field goal. We're tied 10 to 10. And I made a note. Illinois is playing well, fighting well, and they came in with a great game plan. They're clearly better than they were last year. They're clearly not intimidated by the crowd. They don't give a crap about short week and traveling and we're the road team and what that's supposed to mean. They played not only like they believed they were going to win, they fully expected to win and acted like they were going to win the entire game. And I'm not saying our players didn't. I was just surprised by how Illinois came in. I kind of figured we'd be that way. All right. Somewhere in here, Dylan Raiola must have thrown an interception because that's what I have written on the next page I'm going to. All right. Now, both of his interceptions on the season are really 50-50 balls. This was the one in the corner of the end zone. Isaiah Neyor had it, lost it. The DB took it from him. Both of his interceptions this year, Raiola, they're 50-50 balls. And in this particular one, Isaiah Neyor has played really well this year. He played good again tonight. Couple of touchdown grabs. Him and Jamal Banks are clearly our two best receivers. All right, but he should have held on to that ball. That's 7 points left on the field. We missed a field goal late in the game that was very makeable. There's another 3 points left on the field. All right. That's Illinois' 7th interception on the season, which ties them for Minnesota with 2nd in the country. I said coming into this game, this was the best secondary we'd seen all year. All right, second most amount of interceptions. They're now tied with Minnesota for 2nd in the country with 7. Maryland leads the country with 9. Kind of random there. I'm sorry, California leads the country with 9. Of our 33 plays so far, I wrote, we have thrown the ball 20 times. We couldn't run the ball tonight. We didn't run it successfully. We didn't run it continuously. We didn't make a legit effort, and we couldn't do it. We didn't even average 3 yards per carry tonight. I'll get into the rushing stats a little bit more at the end. Now, this is the point where I start to, I don't know if you can see this. Should mention, there are some questionable calls by the refs, and I'm going to read Nick Steinert's tweet. Shout out to Nick. You might want to get extra security for these officials tonight, said Nick. That's at least 3 calls early on in the game that they changed after calling it. Also, randomly, a Scott Frost burner account on X put out this. And he was quoting the commentators. And I quote, "They're letting them play and I love it," end quote. That was the commentators. All right. The next Husker drive, Jamal Banks with he had a couple of terrific catches tonight. 27-yard catch on 3rd and 7. Raiola back shoulder throw, nice throw. Isaiah Neyor, a great touchdown grab, dragging his toe in the end zone with his 2nd touchdown catch. Score, Huskers 17, Illinois 10, and that was the score at halftime. Do we lead pretty much most of the whole game after the initial drive until the end? I don't even remember. Halftime stats, total yards. We have 235. They have 160. We have 79 rush yards. They had 37. I don't know that we had a whole lot more rush yards at the end of the game. I wrote it down. We'll get to it. Pass yards. We had 156. They had 123. Neither team able to run the balls. My note, we dominated the time of possession, 18-32 to 11-28. Raiola was 16 of 23, 155 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Dante Dowdell in the first half carried the load, 13 rushes for 54 yards. All other running backs combined, only one other guy got a carry in the first half, was Ramir Johnson with 3 carries. And then Jamal, 5 catches, 61 yards. John Bullock's probably our best defensive player, him and Ty Robinson so far this year. Okay, I feel like Nash Hutmaker's been a little bit quiet so far this year to this point. Anyways, he had 6 tackles, 1 PBU, 1 sack. I do want to say shout out to Greg Sharp. I know he had a scheduled procedure earlier this week, so he couldn't be at and or call the game this week, so prayers up to Greg Sharp. Here are my halftime notes. 1, Illinois is a much better football team than last year. 2, wow, this didn't age well. We're still a better team. Okay. Calls could have a big effect on this game. Oh, wow. Wow. Some of these things. And what you write at halftime and how you view it at the end of the game. Good Lord. All right. Dylan Raiola continues to exceed expectations. That's what I wrote at halftime. Should mention the stadium is rocking. Shout out to Husker Nation. They showed up today. I said give credit to Luke Altmaier. He's playing well, but I'd like the Blackshirts to step up more. We only have 1 sack to this point in the game. The third quarter, Illinois almost took a kickoff return back for a touchdown. Luckily, our kicker did just enough to get him down. To this point, our net punting in the game is 25 yards. Should note cornerback Tommy Hill left the game with a head injury on the sideline and street clothes. USC transfer Zaire Wright saw more action after Tommy went out, and he did some good things in the second half, all right? Interesting stat, tonight's attendance, 86,936. Makes the Huskers' total attendance during the sellout streak over 31 million tickets sold. 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Illinois scores, ties the game 17-17 going into the final quarter. The next drive, Dylan Raiola makes some great throws. Now he's 20 of 29, 260 passing yards, 3 TDs, and 1 INT. I don't know what more the true freshman could have done tonight. I wish overtime would have looked a lot differently. A lot differently. Illinois had the ball over 10 minutes in the third quarter. The time of possession flipped, so to speak. All right, end of the game about half and half. All right, the drive capped off with an end around. All right, our touchdown drive capped off with an end around, technically a forward pass to Janarian Bonner. Our next possession, Huskers lead 24-17. Now, Bonner's a bit of an interesting story. He's 6'2", 220 pounds. He was a 4-star wide receiver coming out of high school, a top 50 wide receiver in the country. And we put him at fullback when he got to Nebraska. Now he's a wide receiver again, and he looked pretty good tonight. All right. And I just wrote another 15-yard personal foul penalty on our defense. So apparently this was not the first one because, as we know, there was more than one. Illinois' next drive. Now we have 8 penalties for 84 yards. Illinois, 3 penalties for 20 yards at this point in the game. Illinois' drive results in a touchdown. Altmaier throws a touchdown pass to a 6'5", 335-pound offensive lineman who is wearing a different colored jersey. Every offensive lineman's dream come true. Brandon Henderson, there's a shout-out, big Brandon. All right, Blackshirts allowed more points tonight than they had in the whole season combined coming into tonight. Right now, I trust our offense more than our defense at this moment during the game. Feel like this has turned into a bit of a quarterback duel. That was early on in the fourth quarter, which when I wrote that note. Illinois' next possession, corner blitz called by Tony White. Zaire Wright, sack fumble recovered by Nebraska. Our ball on their 38-yard line, and I'm thinking, here we go. And then RHULE did a great job of milking the clock. We had the ball with like 8 minutes to go. All of a sudden, it's like 3 minutes to go, and Illinois might not get the ball back. And I'm like, here we go. All right, go back a little bit. Right after the strip sack fumble by Zaire Wright, we get a first down. On the first down of our 4 plays later after the fumble, Heinrich Harburg at running back. I'm like, oh, we're going to run a trick play. Probably not good if that's immediately what I thought. That's immediately what we did. Raiola tosses the ball to Harburg, and I like the idea, but let's set it up a little bit. All right, Harburg throws the ball back to Raiola. This was interesting to watch, by the way. Felt a little predictable, I wrote, but it worked. Raiola throws the ball for a first down. He actually made a really good decision once he got the ball, Raiola did. Nebraska's next drive, this is where it lasted over 5 minutes. Okay, now, Raiola's human. He missed a wide open Lindenmeyer, our 4th-string tight end, on a play-action pass. Would have been a touchdown, missed him. I guess he's allowed to be human. Then John Hull misses a go-ahead field goal. The laces were not exactly where you'd like them to be, and at some point we gotta get better at special teams. We just do. The last time we were halfway decent to semi-average at special teams is when Bill Bush was running it, and then like a season or 4 games later, he's over there running the defense. Okay, if you remember all that. With 2 minutes left, Illinois has the ball, 3rd down. With 1 yard to go, and I wrote, here we go. Another close one-score game. Is this the game we find a way to get over the hump? Since 2023, Illinois, in games that are 8 points or less, is 6-3. Nebraska's 1-5. That's what I wrote at this point with 2 minutes to go in the game. All right. Well, we know how it plays out. But regulation ends, and we're tied 24-24. I said, I don't know how this will end, but I can't help but think about the amount of points we've left on the field so far. Yes, we can talk about the penalties and the bad calls and things of that nature too. Illinois scores on their first drive in 2 plays. Big run down the left sideline, just no contain, no leverage. All right, next play, play action pass, guy's wide open. Because of course he is. All right, Nebraska's 4 plays in overtime were 4 of the ugliest plays I've ever seen in an overtime period. I'm not just saying that because I'm mad because we lost. I'm not just saying that because I'm frustrated. They're 4 of the ugliest plays I've ever seen in an overtime period. And I wrote this down. We netted a total of about negative 30 yards on those 4 plays. The O-line didn't really play well tonight. I've said, there's still a question mark to me. I like our skill position guys. The O-line, I expect them to be good. I'm tired of using the P word, potential. 3rd year under O-line coach Donovan Raiola. Couldn't run the ball. And when we needed it the most, they had blitzers running free in overtime straight to Raiola. Now, you could talk about maybe get rid of the ball sooner, do things of that nature. What more do you want from him as a true freshman? All right, now, on third down, there was a late hit on the Illinois defender laid on our guy, and they didn't call it. I'm not sure how. Final score, Illinois 31, Nebraska 24. I've got some final thoughts here. Illinois is a better team than I thought. Illinois is a significantly better team than they were last year. Nebraska is a better team. This came down to who was going to find a way to win. And there was a point in the game where I was like, all right, Raiola's on the field. We're going to score. He's going to do something. And he did a lot of good things tonight. There was a point where I wasn't sure about our defense and what they were going to do and what they were not going to do. They actually made a couple of turnovers and gave our offense some opportunities. There's some things that the defense and the Blackshirts and myself and Tony White are not going to be thrilled about as we go back and watch this film again later on at some point this weekend. I'll probably put out my next show Sunday morning instead of Sunday night because this is a Friday night game. We got to find a way to win these games. We did have a wide open potential game-winning touchdown pass. We had a field goal. And maybe Illinois handles the end of the fourth quarter, their last drive, a little bit differently if we've got a field goal lead. We've got opportunities. All right. So we had no run game. Here are my final thoughts. We were outrushed by almost 100 yards, 166 to 77. We had average 2.5 yards per carry. Didn't we have 79 yards of rushing at halftime and 77 at the end of the game? Is that right? We lost 2 yards rushing in the second half. I got to go back check that out. That can't be right, can it? Credit to Luke Altmaier. Kid played well. Illinois quarterback. Kid played well. Blackshirts have areas to improve. Penalties were big. Points left on the field were big this game. Until late in the game, Dylan Raiola really played well. And I don't really have anything negative to say about late in the game. Sure, there's things he could have done differently. He's 19. I have no complaints about how he's played as an overall whole this year. Here are my questions. Let me know your answers in the comments below. And I will say this. It's always hard in the heat of the moment. It's always hard in a gut reaction. Love and support of Nebraska football never changes. Frustration runneth amok. I will be back next week, as frustrating as this moment is, and I'm sure you all will too. Here are my questions for your fine folks at home. Number one, are you sick of Big Ten refs? I think I know the answer to that. Number two, did we get outcoached tonight? Number three, what's the biggest area of the team that we need to improve on? All right. Until next time, Husker Nation, you can always check out CarrikerChronicles.com. We've got all sorts of game reactions to this game. We will all week. We will all weekend. CarrikerChronicles.com. It's where all your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. Until next time, go Big Red. And always remember to throw the bone.
This show is brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. They are your local concrete experts. All things concrete, all things retaining wall. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. If this is your line of work, there's no better boss than Jason Armstrong. Go to dpsconstruction.net. The show is also brought to you by Allen Capital Group. They put my family's worries to rest because they've taken care of my family's finances for over a decade, and I trust them. Next level solutions for next level needs. Check them out at allencapgroup.com. That's ALLENCAP group.com.